Hello students. Hello students. Good morning to all of you. Welcome you all in this lecture. It is of electrical machine 1. Code number is EE205 and we are basically going through the unit number 3. Basically the unit 3 is running now. And as you know, my name is Racha Saxena, working as assistant professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering. I hope you will find at the home. Now, as per my previous lecture series, basically, I'm dealing with your subject that is of electrical machine one. At the time of starting of this lecture series, basically, I told you one thing that electrical machine is the important subject, and basically the electrical machines having two parts, machine one and machine two. But if you refer the books of this subject, you'll find all all basically two parts in a one book. All two parts means machine one and machine two. Now basically now your engineering is of semester system. So in semester system we get 6 months for one sem. Basically for one semester means 6 months we'll study about the electrical machine one, and for remaining 6 months, that is a semester, we are going to study the electrical machine second. Now, my dear students, if I am talking about the electrical machine, so electrical machines, two things are there. Electrical, as you know, machines which basically do work something. Some work have been, some work will be take place. So, if I am talking about the electrical machine one, so electrical machine one is totally deals with the direct current machines. Okay, and if I am talking about the direct current machine, so I am talking about the direct current rotating machines. What is the mean of rotating machine here? In rotating machine having some rotating part, and non-rotating machine it doesn't have any rotating part. So if I'm talking about the rotating machine, the rotating machines are motor and generator, in which we having the stator and rotor. Okay, and if I'm talking about the non-rotating machine, that is transformer. Okay, but transformer does not convert from one form of energy to another, but these rotating electrical machines convert from one form to another. They may be the electrical to mechanical, mechanical to electrical, voltage and current to the torque, and torque to the voltage current. If I'm talking about voltage and current converted into torque, means I'm talking about my district what motor, that is DC motor. And if I'm talking about the conversion from torque to voltage current power energy, it means I'm talking about generator. So here, basically in the electrical machine one, we are going to study about as per the my lecture series. The first unit was dealing with the magnetic circuit and magnetic field. In that magnetic field, we are going to we basically have studied about flux lines, density, intensity, the basically curve drawn between density and intensity, that is known as BH curve, hysteresis curve. Okay, all these things. And in the second unit, we have studied about the basically the how electromagnetic force take place, and how if force is taking place, that is the Lorentz force, after that how will we get torque on it. So these are the two things we have studied in the unit number 2 basically. And in this unit number 2, why we study, because these are the basics. If you don't know how can we convert from magnetic field to electrical field and electrical field to magnetic field, though we can't able to understand the basic concept of electrical machine, that is rotating electrical machine or non-rotating also. Because if I'm talking about non-rotating means transformer, so in transformer we have again no rotating part, but again a magnetic circuit is there because we want flux. If flux cut, then EMF induce right along. If current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, it experiences a force, that is Lorentz force. And if something having a force on it, it means it basically displays from its original position. So what will happen? Torque will take place. And if torque will take place, means it start rotating. Okay, so in transformer doesn't rotating, but magnetic field required, because we know if we change the magnetic field, we'll get the force through conductor, basically current carrying conductor. Okay, so I hope you understand these things. Now in the unit number 3, the starting of the unit number 3, we have started the DC machine. So DC machine fundamentals are of two, if I'm talking about, my dear student. One is the generator, another one is the motor. So if I'm talking about the generator, so in the unit number 4, which means later on, we are going to the detail. how they work, how the principles take place, how which type of principle we are using for generator, which type of principle we are using for motor. But in my these lectures, I'll give you some brief also in as per my lectures. So if I'm talking about the generator, so generator basically in generator what we do, we convert mechanical power into the electrical power. Means we give prime mover, we connect prime mover to the rotor, that basically initially give the mechanical power, start rotate. And if we are giving the mechanical power, it means we are rotate in the clockwise direction, though we use Fleming right hand rule. Fleming right hand rule in the generator, and the basic principle is Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. Now, if I am talking about the motor, my dear student, if I am talking about what motor, the motor in the motor, what happens? In the motor, what happens? In motor, we are doing the reverse of it. Reverse of it means convert electrical power into the magnetic current. Current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field. It experiences a force. It means Lorentz force. It means electromagnetic induction or force law. We have studied in the unit number 1. So, my dear student, if I am talking about the motor, then we use electromagnetic interaction or force law. Okay, but if I am talking about the directional law, that is Fleming left. That is what Fleming left. So, in generator, we use Fleming right hand rule for the direction. Basic principle Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. And in DC motor, the basic principle is electromagnetic interaction and Fleming left hand rule for direction. Okay. Now, in the starting of this unit number 3, I told you about the construction. These are the fundamental. Then we have the construction: yoke, field, pole core, pole shoe, pole winding. Pole shoe is also known as pole face. Then we have the armature. Okay, armature, conductors place on its inner slot. So armature slot, conductors, armature core in a cylindrical structure, shaft on which the armature is mounted, basically. Then commutator, an important part, which basically convert that bidirectional current of armature into the unidirectional, like this also. If I considering like this, so converting into different. Okay, so that is commutator, and from commutator, brush takes the current and give to the terminals, flow that current to the terminals for output in a generator. Okay, then we have studied about the types of armature winding: lap and wave, lap and wave, series and parallel connection, high voltage low current, low voltage high current. Understand? Then we have understood about the construction, how we make it, basically the armature winding. And field winding is very easy. In DC winding, we can say duplex, simplex, equalizer connection, dummy coil. Okay, so they have these all we have studied in my previous lectures. Then basically the EMF equation of a generator. EMF equation of a generator. Okay, now then we have studied just previous of this lecture, that is armature reaction. Means armature flux basically interact with the field flux and basically uh, do two things. Basically produce two facts: distort the wave of flux, distort it, and demagnetization. So we can say demagnetize and cross magnetization. So this was in the armature reactions. How can we eliminate? With the help of compensating winding and interference. Now in this lecture, what we are going to study, basically the topic which is going on is the DC machines. The topic which we are basically studying and we are going through, that is the DC machines. That is what? DC machines. So if I am talking about the DC machine, my dear student, so in this DC machines, the topic which we are going to take today, basically we are going to study today, that is back EMF and torque equations. Now back EMF is similar to that the DC generator EMF. Same equation we'll get. I'll tell you later. But the significance of back EMF, why it is called back EMF, okay, and then torque equation, how we get the torque, and some numerical problems also. Okay, now if I'm starting my lecture, so there will be some objective for me which I want to fulfill for you, my dear students. Because if I am teaching you, if I am delivering this lecture to you, my dear student, so there will be some motto of my mind basically. There will be my motto to deliver the lecture with good quality, with good content that you can easily understand about this thing. So first objective to deliver this lecture to you, my dear students, is help the students to understand about the basics of back EMF. Now, EMF is, if I am talking about the EMF, it means I am talking about the generator. But in generator, we call this generating. But my dear student, construction is same. So working are different, principle are different, but construction is same. So we can say the motor also generate EMF. That is known as back EMF. So how we are going to study how it is called and why it is called the back, how it generates. Okay, and the torque equation in DC motor, and the torque equation in DC motor. Okay, I hope you understand. Now, secondly, make student familiar with the significance of back EMF and torque in DC machines. Why I'm using DC motor and DC machines? Because in a club we call DC machines, but if we talk about the fundamental as per the working, we convert into the motor and generator. But whole we can call as machine. So the construction is same. That is why it is called as DC machine. Now moving forward, my dear student, back EMF. The first topic is the back EMF. Now, when armature winding of a DC motor starts rotating, when the armature winding of a DC motor starts rotating in a magnetic flux produced by the field winding. Now, see what happens. First, that is I am representing as a field. Now, in this we will be having the magnetic flux. Now, this is the rotor which rotates. So, if rotor rotates, the what will happen? The flux which is generated by the field having the flux line, and this rotor rotates and cut this flux. Basically cut this flux. Now it is written here. The magnetic flux produced by the field winding, it cuts the line of magnetic flux. It cuts the line of magnetic flux like this. Okay. Hence, according to Faraday's law of an electromagnetic induction, there will be an induced EMF in the armature. Now, if I am talking about the Faraday's law of an electromagnetic induction, though my dear student, Faraday gives you two laws. First law tell you about if there will be some variation in the flux linkage, then there will be an induction of an EMF. That is known as induced. If it is a closed path, then current will flow. That current also known as induced current. So that is the thing basically. Hence, according to Faraday's law of an electromagnetic induction, there will be an induced EMF in which armature winding, because it is stationary flux lines. Now I am rotating, it cuts, and the conductor which is placed in it basically cut the flux and induce what? EMF. What induce? EMF in that armature winding. I hope you understand. Now, as per Lenz's law, this induced EMF acts in opposite direction to the armature supply. Now, as per Lenz's law basically state what? That induced EMF always opposes the cause of creation. Always opposes the cause of creation. It means how, from which source or from which it generate or basically create, it opposes that. Simple. So as per the Lenz's law, this induced EMF acts in opposite direction to the armature supply voltage. Induced EMF acts in the opposite direction to the armature supply voltage, always with the armature supply voltage. Hence, this EMF is called as the back EMF and denoted by EB. The direction is opposite. Now see one thing. If I am talking about the generator, so in generator the rotor starts rotate in the clockwise direction because we are rotating. You can say Fleming right hand. But if I am talking about the motor, it rotates in the anti-clockwise direction. So the Fleming left hand rule we can say. The directions are opposite. See, directions are opposite. So we can say the back EMF. And as per Lenz's law, this induced EMF acts in opposite direction to the armature supply voltage, which we are giving to the armature because it is a motor. If I'm talking about the motor, then I'm talking about the back EMF. If I'm talking about the generator, then we always call it as a generator. Okay, so as per the Lenz's law, this induced EMF acts in the opposite direction to the armature supply voltage. Hence, this EMF is called as a back EMF. Why it is called back EMF? As you understand or not, I hope you understand. Opposite direction. Cause the creation. Cause always opposes the cause of creation. So hence this EMF is called as the back EMF and denoted by EB. Now value is what? NP phi Z by 68, or we can say phi ZNP by 60. Changing. Okay. The value will be NP phi Z by 68. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, generated EMF or EMF equation of a generator. Now I'm repeating why this EMF equation, to understand. If anyone asks you the basically drive the back EMF for a motor, so same thing you have to do, but instead of generating EMF, it is called as back EMF. So I'm repeating this thing again for the better understanding. I hope you understand this thing now. Let phi. Phi is what? Flux per pore in Weber. As I earlier, as you have studied in the unit number 1 and 2, my dear student, that flux per pole is basically denoted by phi. Okay, and flux is what? MMF per reluctance. MMF by S, we can say. Okay, now, so it is known as in a Weber, we can say the flux per pole in Weber. Now Z I am representing as a total number of armature conductors. Armature conductor means this one, and in this slot we have the coil connected on it, that is known as conductors. So the total number of conductors in is equals to Z. Number of slot, number of conductors per slot. Number of slots and number of conductors per slot. For example, 20 slots are there and 4 conductors in a slot. So 14 to 20, 4 conductors in a slot means 20 slots are there. So 4 into 20, 80 conductors. We can calculate like this. Now P, number of generator. Instead of generator, we can write motor also, if I'm talking about the back EMF. But here I'm calculating for the generator, because always for generator we called as EMF, but for motor we called as torque, because the output of generator is EMF, that is electrical quantity. Okay, but always the output of motor is what? Torque, speed, rotation, revolution. That denotes the torque for DC. So if I'm talking about the generator, we are talking about EMF, and back EMF is for motor, opposite direction. So if anyone asks you about the derivation, this is the same derivation we have to follow. Now A is number of parallel paths in armature, and A is 2 for wave. I earlier told you, and A is equals to P for lap. A is equals to 2 for wave, and A is equals to P for lap. Now armature revolution per minute, that is RPM, or rotation per minute, that denotes N. Instead of turns, in turns we denote N, but here I am representing speed as a capital N. We can represent turns for the small n, but I am representing the capital N for what? Armature rotation, armature movement. Okay, in RPM. Now E is what? EMF induced in any parallel path in armature. Means EMF induced in any parallel path in armature. Armature having parallel path, the EMF will induce like this. These are the parallel paths, so EMF will induce like this. Okay. Now generated EMF I am calling as EG. Instead of if I am talking about the back EMF, so I have to write EB. What I have to write? EB. Now average EMF generated per conductor, that is given by Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, d phi by dt. But instead of applying Lenz's law, I am not applying Lenz's law here. That is why I am not writing minus sign. So the value will be d phi by dt. Now d phi is what? Flux. Now flux cut per conductor in one revolution. That is d phi. Flux cut per conductor in one revolution, and we know that if poles are there, so field poles denote how many basically how much amount of flux we get. How much amount of flux we get. I hope you understand what I want to tell you basically. Though we can write d phi by is equals to phi p. D phi is equals to phi p. Now number of revolution per second, that is n by 60. But if I am taking one revolution, number of revolution per second n by 60. Okay, I'm converting minute to the second, that is 60. But if I'm taking reverse of it, means time for one revolution, that is 60 by n. That is what? 60 by n. So dt will become 60 by n. My dear student, dt will become 60 by n. So according to Faraday's law of an electromagnetic induction, what we can write? d phi by dt is equals to phi p n by 60. Phi p n by 60. Now, number of conductors is series in one parallel path. Parallel path, number of conductors are there in series. So we can write Z are the number of conductors and A is the parallel path. So Z by A. What we can write? Z by A. Okay. So here I am writing also the EMF generated path is equal to 5 PN by 60A. We can say 5 PZN by 60A volts, and we can also write 5 ZNP by 60. Okay. And wave for wave binding we are using A is equals to 2, and for lap binding I am writing A is equals to P. Means if I am talking about the lap, then parallel slot, we can say parallel path always equal to the pole. If I am talking about the wave binding, then parallel path always equals to 2, only 2, plus minus plus minus. Okay, so same equation we are getting here. See, n p 5z by 60. Here again I am getting what? 5z and p by 60. A is equals to 2 for wave and A is equals to p for. So same derivation we have to follow. Instead of writing generator, we can write motor. But that is the back as per the direction. I hope you understand. Now moving forward. Now significance of back. Now if I'm talking about the motor, my dear student, though in motor we always talk about the torque. We always talk about the torque. And if I'm talking about the generator, we always talk about the EMF. Then why we are using this back EMF? What will be the significance? So in this we are going to study about the significance. What is the significance? Okay. Now the presence of back EMF makes the DC motor a self-regulating machine. What it behaves? Self-regulating machine. That is, it makes the motor to draw as much armature current as is just sufficient to develop the torque required by the load. Now see, if generating EMF is there, so the significance of this back EMF is through this armature current will flow, because if it is closed path, the EMF will become voltage, and voltage will become the force that basically develop to move the ions, that is electron, from one portion to the another, one side to the other, sending end to the receiving end. Means rate of flow of charge is known as current. So armature current as much as possible, and if I am getting the armature current, through this I am getting the torque. So if back EMF is there, will give you the torque, and we need so much torque, because if I am talking about, my dear student, DC motor, though I am talking about the mechanical output, I'm not talking about the electrical output, because I am talking about motor, and in motor we always talk about the mechanical, that is torque or speed, rotation, revolution. So it helps first. Now, when the rotor is running on no load, means no load is given, means no mechanical load is connected, small torque is required to overcome the friction and windage losses. Small torque is required to overcome the friction and windage losses. Small, we can say. Therefore, the armature current IA is small and back EMF is nearly equal to the applied voltage. At this time, if I'm talking about no load, the back EMF will become equal to the terminal voltage, we can say, equal to the applied voltage which we are applying. Okay, and armature current is very small. Why is very small? Because a small EMF is generated, that is known as back EMF, and that back EMF is basically overcome the friction and windage losses. Okay, first significance. Now second, if motor is suddenly loaded, now I basically put some load on it. I basically apply some mechanical load on the shaft, on the rotor, basically the torque or speed, we can say. Now if motor is suddenly loaded, the first effect is to cause the armature to slow down. The first effect is to cause the armature to slow down. Now armature will slow down if loaded increase on it. Okay. Therefore, the speed at which the armature conductor move through the field is reduced, and hence the back EMF EB falls. Now therefore, the speed at which armature conductors do what? Move through the field is reduced, and hence the back EMF falls. It's basically fall down, decrease. Okay. The decreased back EMF allows a larger current. The decreased back EMF allows what? A larger current to flow through the armature, and larger current means increased driving torque. Now, EB is falling down. Now current is increasing. That is the armature current. If armature current is increasing, means it gives you the increasing torque. That is which type of torque? Driving torque. So we are getting the more driving torque, increased driving. Thus, the driving torque increases as the motor slow down. Now, the driving torque is increasing as the motor slow down, decrease basically, slow down. The motor will stop slowing down when the armature current is just sufficient to produce the increased torque required by the load. The motor will stop slowing down, okay, slowly down when the armature current is just sufficient. Which type of armature current is just sufficient to produce the increased torque? Is give you or produce or generate or create the increased torque required by the load, which load wants basically, in which manner the load wants. So if the motor is suddenly loaded, the first effect is to cause the armature to slow down. Therefore, the speed at which the armature conductors move through the field is reduced. What happened? The field is reduced, and hence the back EMF falls, decrease. The decreased back EMF allows a larger current to flow through the armature, and larger current means driving torque increases. Does the driving torque increase as the motor slow down? Stopping basically the slowing down from its speed. The motor will stop slowing down when the armature current is just sufficient to produce the increased torque required by the load. Which torque or which load basically requiring by the load, which the load wants. I hope you understand. Now, main significance of back EMF. If the load on the motor is decreased, if in the first case no loaded, then suddenly on the load basically loaded, then if the load on motor is decrease in some manner, the driving torque is momentarily in excess of requirement. Now the driving torque is momentary in excess, at a moment we can say in excess of the requirement, so the armature is accelerated. What happens? Armature is accelerated. As the armature speed increases, the back EMF also increases. As the armature EMF speed increases, what happens? The back EMF also increases, and cause the armature current IA to decrease. Cause armature current IA to be decrease, slow down, decrease the value, lesser the value compare the previous one. We can see. Okay. Now the motor will stop accelerating. In first case, motor is accelerated. Now in this case, the motor will stop accelerating. Okay. Now when the armature current is just sufficient, now the motor will stop accelerating when the armature current is just sufficient to produce sufficient just sufficient to produce the reduced torque. Which torque? The reduced torque required by the load. The reduced torque which is required by the load. Okay. Now it follows, therefore, that back EMF in a DC motor, regulates the flow of current. Regulates what? The flow of armature current. That is, it automatically changes the armature current to meet the load requirement. So back EMF will giving you what? The motor will stop accelerating when the armature current is just sufficient to produce the reduced torque required by the load. It follows. Therefore, that back EMF in a DC motor regulates the flow of armature current. That is, it automatically changes. The armature current to meet the load requirement. First, it is increasing, decreasing, then meet with the load requirement. I hope you understand. You better understand now. Voltage equation of a DC motor. Now, if you want to drive the voltage equation, now we all know, if I'm talking about the generating EMF equation, that is phi Z and P by 60. Phi Z and P by 60, where phi is the flux, Z is the number of armature conductors, P is the number of poles, A is the number of parallel paths in armature. We can determine with the help of lap and wave winding. If lap is there, then A will become P, and if wave winding is there, then A equals to 2. Similar to that one, we having the back EMF, similar to that action, but its direction is opposite to it. Okay, so if direction is opposite to 3 significance we actually studied, 1, 2, and 3 basically. If no load, then it helps. If exceeding the load, it again helps. If decreasing the load, it again helps. So in 3 cases, the back EMF is suitable, or basically is a demand for generating a torque, to create a torque. So back EMF will give you what, my dear student? Back EMF will give you a as a basically it supports that how can we generate torque. So through this back EMF, it gives you help to generate more and more torque, to create more and more torque. Okay, now see here. Basically, in my previous lecture, I told you there are two types of DC machines. Later on, I am also talking about this thing because in unit number 4 we having this thing again. So in detailed manner and elaborating manner, I am telling you in the unit number 4. But the basic types are of self-excited and separately excited. So my dear student, self and separately basically based on separately excitation means external excitation. The one thing is there, I have to give supply to the field winding. I have to give the supply to the field winding to generate magnetic field. And if motor is there, then I have to give the supply to the motor also. Okay, to the rotor. So one thing is there, my dear student, in separately excitation, basically we give supply to the field winding separately, not combined. But if I'm talking about the self excitation, those self excitation means in a magnetic field we have studied previously that some residual magnetism will be taking place. Some remaining magnetic energy you always found in a magnet. Some energy stores in a magnet. You know this thing. You better know this thing, my dear student. I already told you in the unit number 1. So for this residual magnetism, what happens? Through this residual magnetism, what we can do? Magnetism means magnetic flux we have. Cut that flux with the help of armature and give through this what we get as per the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. EMF will introduce. We can give that EMF to the load also if generator, and some part of that EMF will go given to the field to excite it, to energize it, to generate more flux. So if I am doing like this, then it basically called or it is a type of self-excitation. So separately excitation is here. This one I am giving the external supply, but self-excitation which doesn't give any external supply. It's basically based on residual magnetism, remaining magnetism in a magnet. So the three types of that self-excitants are: we can connect that field winding with the armature in series called a series wound. We can connect that field winding in parallel to that armature winding called shunt wound. We can connect both series and shunt found as compound. And in this we can use long shunt and short shunt. So differential compound and cumulative compound. So these are the some types of DC machine. Now I am taking as a separately excited. That is the external sources here. Though what happens, my dear student, here is the armature. This circle always represent as a armature, and here we are getting the V. In this I am giving the supply V. Through this what will happen, the armature current, or we can say the current introduced in it. Okay, I'm representing here, my dear student. So through this the VB is applied, that is back EMF and induced EMF. We can see that. Okay, so here I am representing armature, here is representing this, and secondly I am showing you with the its resistance, that is R. Okay, now how can we create the voltage equation? See, as shown in figure 1, that is the previous one, this one, the armature supply voltage V has to overcome the opposition. The armature voltage supply V has to overcome the opposition posed by the back EMF. Overcome the position basically, opposition that is posed by what? Who will pose it? Who will give this one? Back EMF. Significance of back EMF, I already told you. Previously we have studied that is significance of back EMF, the back EMF. So has to overcome the opposition which is posed by, which is given by, which is taken place by the back EMF, that is EB. And some other voltage drops such as brush drop. We connect brush on the commutator, drop will be take place, and the voltage drop across the RA. RA is what, my dear student? That is armature resistance. RA is what? That is armature resistance. So from figure 1 we can write that V is equals to EB plus IARA plus VB. V is equals to EB plus IA. See here, V is equals to, I am representing like this. Now it is basically if I am applying KVL here. So negative to positive will become positive. We are getting always minus sign here, and minus, positive to negative minus. So We can write like this: VB is equals to E plus IRA. Can write this thing, or we can write like this: VB minus IRA minus E is equals to 0. Or VB is the brush drop, we can say. So we can write like this: V is equals to, so I am writing like this: V, positive V is equals to VB plus IARA plus E. Okay, or representing the second one. So see here I am writing like this: V is equals to EB, that is back EMF, plus IARA plus VB. VB is the brush drop, but voltage drop brush is negligible. We basically neglect it. In some numerical, if value is given, then you have to consider it. Otherwise, it is 1 volt or 2 volt, so we can neglect it. So that is negligible. Now the equation will become V is equals to EB plus IARA. V is equals to EB plus IARA. Clear? V is equals to, see here, this is the equation. V is equals to EB, we can write VB. Instead of VB, we can write EB. So V is equals to EB plus IR. IRA base I into RA, the voltage drop. Okay. Now the equation become V is equals to EB plus IA RA. I hope you understand. Now this is the voltage equation we can use for the motor. Similar equation we can use for the generator, because conceptions are same, my dear student, but the current direction is reverse. In generator we use this direction, in motor we use this direction, C. Okay, and look like this also. Now in this, current direction is going here, that is generator. In this motor it is opposite. So if motor I am using plus IA, in generator we use minus IA. Okay, so we use V is equals to EB my EG. In that case, generator EMF, EB will become EG, and instead of this plus sign we write minus sign in generator. So in generator we can write V is equals to EG minus IARA, or EG is equals to V plus IARA. We can write. Here I am writing V is equals to EB plus IARA. I hope you understand. So we can calculate voltage equation for a, or of a DC motor or a generator also in some manner. I hope you understand. Now this is the voltage equation. Now torque equations. See how it basically take place, how we can write how it basically occurs. So the torque produced by a motor will always be proportional to the air gap flux, that is phi, and the current flowing through the armature winding, that is I. Now see, current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field the experience of electromagnetic force, also called as Lorentz force. So that force is basically responsible with two things: induce EMF. Through induced EMF we having the current, or we can say the current which is flowing in the armature, and current carrying conductor, and magnetic field. Magnetic field means flux. So we can write this equation or not, my dear student? Torque is proportional to the flux. If flux is not there, then there will be no variable, basically the changes in the flux. And if there is no change in the flux, no EMF will introduce. Faraday law will not take place if flux lines are not there. So flux is responsible, and second responsible thing is armature current. So we can write torque is proportional to pi I. Pi is the flux and I is the armature. I hope you understand with this equation. Now second, the flux is produced by the means the flux is produced by the field current. The flux is produced by the field current. Obviously, why we call field, we are telling that it is a field. Why it is called as a field, my dear student? Because it generates magnetic field, it creates magnetic field. So the flux is produced by the field current, and hence phi will be proportional to the field current. Obviously, if flux is producing, now what happens? See, Biot-Savart law. As per the Biot-Savart law, if I am flowing a current in a coil, through that current, uh, at the surrounding of that coil, we find a magnetic field, and we can say phi is proportional to the I. Means phi is proportional to the I. The I which we are getting, same nature of flux we are getting, because it is proportional. So through this we can write like this. If I am talking about the field, so I am talking about the magnetic field. Okay, so phi is proportional to which current? I field, means IF, field current. I hope you understand by this. Now Hence, torque produced by DC motor is proportional to the product of IA and IF. Obviously, instead of phi, we can write what? IF. So the torque is proportional to the IF and IE. The product of IA, that is armature current, and field current, that is IF. I hope you understand. Now, for the various types of DC motors, the expression for field current will be different. Various types of DC motor. Now, my dear student, series, shunt, compound, separately. So, for the various types of DC motors, the expression for field current will be different. We will substitute them into equation number 1 to get the torque equation. To get the what? Torque equation. Moving forward, torque equation of DC shunt motor. Which motor? DC shunt. In this shunt motor, what we do? We connect field winding parallel to the armature winding. We basically connect field winding parallel to the armature winding. So we can write I field is equals to V by RSH. RSH means shunt resistance is equals to constant. In this case, the flux is constant because parallel. Flux is constant, no proportionality. So we can write torque is proportional to IE. Torque is proportional to IE. Hence, in DC shunt motor, torque is proportional to the only to the which current, my dear student? Armature current. Which current, my dear student? Armature current. I hope you understand. Now, torque equation DC series motor. First, torque equation of DC shunt motor. The torque equation DC series motor. For DC series motor, field current is equal to the armature current because it is connected in series like this. In a parallel it is dividing, but in a series it is like this. So same current will flow. In series current will same, but in parallel current will divide. So same current will there, though I can say IF will become IA or IA will become IF. So though instead we can write like this. See, IF equals to IA. So we can write what? Torque is proportional to IA into IA or IF into IA. We can write torque is proportional to the IA square. Means armature current is square. Hence in DC series motor, torque is proportional to the square of armature current. Torque is proportional to the what? Square of armature current. I hope you understand. Now, we know the expression for the back EMF. The first topic which we covered basically, we know that the expression of the generating EMF is phi z P by 60A and back EMF is also same and P phi z by 60A. Now, but P, Z and 60 are constants. Pole is fixed in a machine. Z is also fixed, armature current, and 60 is the fixed and A is also fixed, lap or wave, whatever. Therefore, we can write E is proportional to phi n. EB is proportional to what? Phi n. Though N is proportional to EB upon phi. We can write. We can write or not? We can write. Now N is equals to K EB upon phi. We can also write this thing because if I want to remove proportional, then I have to write the constant. So I am representing K as a constant here. What I am doing here, my dear student, I am representing K is the constant. Now, but V is equals to EB plus IR. Voltage equation, we have already get it. V is equals to EB plus IRA. So EB is equals to V minus IRA. E is equals to what? EB is equals to V minus IRA. Now substituting the seventh question into the equation number 5. That is what. Substitute. Now N is proportional to V minus IA RA upon phi. N is proportional to the V minus IA RA upon phi. So we can write some more thing, that is N is proportional to V minus IA RA upon I field because phi is proportional to the I. That is the same thing. See here. Okay, so we can write what? N is proportional to the V minus IA RA upon I field. I hope you understand. Speed equation. Now, DC shunt motor, for DC shunt motor, the flux is constant. For DC shunt motor, the flux is constant. Why I am calculating the speed equation? If torque is there, though we can easily calculate the speed. Okay, though. Now speed is, therefore the speed is proportional to V minus IR upon IF, means flux is constant in a shunt motor, no IF is there. Now for DC shunt motor, IF is equals to IA. IF is equals to IA. So we can write like this. V minus IRA minus ISRS. This is the series field resistance and series field upon IA. So we can write like this. This is the back EMF. So we can represent it. or which motor? DC series motor. I hope you understand about this thing. So DC series motor. Okay, now moving forward. Now previous we have basically calculated the first the back EMF, that is similar to generating EMF but having significance for the torque. Then we calculated the voltage equation, that is V is equals to EB plus IARA. Then we calculated the torque for different machine, shunt, series, basically shunt and series. Then we have calculated the speed equations. Now some numerical problems. DC. Now here a 20 HP 250 volt shunt motor with resistance is given to, that is RS and RF, at low load and rated voltage. The speed is 1200 rpm. Speed is given to you. Two resistances value Ra or Rf means field and armature is given to you. Voltage is given to you, that is terminal 250, and HP, that is a rating, is given to you. And the armature current is 3 ampere. The current is also given to you. Which current? Armature current, 3 ampere. At full load and rated voltage, the line current is 55 ampere. Line current is also given. What is the full load speed? What is the what? Full load speed. So we having two cases, at no load and full load. So in no load, we can write VF by RF, that is 250. RF is given to 170. We can calculate the field current very easily. Now we are getting the speed already given the numerical, that is 1200. Now E is equals to V minus IARA. Obviously EMF. With that equation, we can easily calculate the voltage equation. Secondly, at full load, do this same thing. Again, we are 1.47A, but the speed, full load speed, is not given to you, my dear student. Not given to you. So we can apply equation, that is the EMF equation is there. Now we can write the no load upon full load, no load upon full load. Though all these things are given, but what is not given? Full load speed. Through this, we can calculate the full load value. I hope you understand. Now this is the numerical problem how we get. So later on I'll tell you all more numerical problems. Just we go through the multiple choice question related to this topic basically. Now first, a 220 volt DC motor draws an armature current of 20 ampere. Its armature is 6 ohm. The induced EMF in the motor will be, you can calculate with the help of value is given to, equation is given to, the value will be 208. If the flux is increased by 50% and speed is reduced by 50% of DC motor, keeping the other parameters constant, then its back EMF will become what? Again 100% of its original back EMF. Same thing is there. If EB is the back EMF of DC motor and V is the terminal voltage, then the condition for maximum power is EB is equals to 2 volt. Double agree? Now 4-pole lap-wound DC motor drawing an armature current of 20 ampere has 360 conductors. If flux per pole is given, WV, then the gross torque developed by the armature motor, we know the equations basically. So what will be the value? 7.7, that is C. As the load on DC motor increases, the current drawn by the motor increases. A. If the back EMF of DC motor is doubled and the flux is halved, keeping other parameters constant, then the speed will become what? What speed will become, my dear student? 4 times of the original speed. Keeping the excitation constant, the proportionality between back EMF and armature speed of the DC motor is same as that of proportionality constant. The developed torque in DC motor is directly proportional to the armature current. DC shunt motor. DC shunt motor. Yes, directly proportional to the armature current, we can say. A 4-pole 220 DC, 10 HP DC motor is rotating at the speed, and the developed useful torque, you can say 219 point something. And the motor equation is given by B. We have already calculated, that is B. So this is related, these MCQs are related to your lecture. I hope you understand. Now, these are the references from which I took some material to deliver this lecture, and you can also refer these books, A. Phil Gerard, Stephen G. Chapman, R.K. Srivastava. These are very good books. they having very good content. Just go through it, and you can find these all books are available in the library. Okay, so thank you from my side for this lecture. I hope you understand. I hope you better understand about the equation torque equation, back EMF, what are the significance of back EMF, all these things. So I hope you understand. So this is all about from my side. Thank you, students. Thank you for listening.